to tape. Hello, everyone. All right, you guys ready to kick this thing off?
Yes.
I like it. Definitive.
It's what I never speak up. I never speak loudly. I probably should, but I never do.
You
I think I'm missing a manual.
say it loud, say it proud. I like video games.
There's gotta
I
be.
like video games. And I was distracted.
There's
Where's
so
the shiny
much
thing?
shit
There's
in
the
this
shiny thing.
box.
All right, you guys ready to kick this thing off?
Yep.
All right, starting in 3. We're doing top 10, just to be clear.
Wait, hold on. All right, real quick. All right, so do we want? Are we doing top 10 first?
Yep. It's top 10, community game of the year, honorable mentions, best old game, and then we wrap out with games I missed.
So we're doing each one of those as a segment then.
Yeah. Yeah, each segment will be Knobs, then Moon, then me, and then we'll just go around like that for each one.
Okay.
Okay. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas / Happy Holidays / if you're British, Happy Christmas. It's
Thank you.
That Video Game Podcast, one of our favorite episodes of the year, top 10. This year for 2017. The year of our Christmas, 2017. Let's break down the rules here at the beginning in case this is the first one you've listened to, and it's a good refresher for all of us. Start off with each person's top 10 in reverse order. We can't start the show with showstopper. We haven't seen each other's lists. I feel like that's a pretty common thing nowadays, but it's a secret to all of us. During each person's list, we sort of let them have their own moments about their top 10. We give them the floor. We'll the dance floor, as they say. No real rules on what people have in their top 10 lists. I know some outlets and some podcasts are a little bit more, let's say, strict about, well, you can't put a remaster in there, or you can't put an episode. I don't care. If you liked it in 2017, put it in your list. Whatever. Moon has said he may spoil some things in his top 10 list, so fair warning for his segment.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to clarify. Like, how we may accidentally spoil things.
Yeah, probably.
But it's one of those things where if you haven't played some of these games by this point, after weeks of us talking about how great they are, then it's kind of, especially one game in particular, if you haven't played it this point in the year, it's your own fault for not playing it.
It's probably my fault.
We'll call that Bruce Willis has been dead the whole time rule.
Yes.
Just have your finger on the fast forward button. And be ready. This year, we include games that came out in December 2016 to December 2017, since we record early. So some of these games might be in the very end of 2016. And we're going to break down the sections, starting with top 10, and hitting brand new segment, TVGP's Community Game of the Year. Honorable mentions, Best Old Game, which is just the best game we've played that hasn't come out in 2017 this year, and games we missed. Enough about that. Now that we've laid down the rules, let's start with Knobs. Was your number 10 game of 2017?
My number 10 game, and I labored over pretty much 7, 8, 9, and 10. Like my first 6 are just I cannot, like, those can be interchangeable for any one of them. But
yeah,
number 10 this year, I would have to say Mass Effect Andromeda. This would have been higher in the list if a few of these games hadn't absolutely blown my mind. Or not, I don't want to say blown, but really were just unbelievably good. I think this would probably be a solid 5 any other year. I mean, I spent 70 hours with this game. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. And it's like, granted, I have some design gripes and world building gripes with it, but it's Mass Effect. I mean, I think that's a very, very competent and hopefully first entry into this series in a galaxy not too far away.
Galaxy close-ish.
the closest galaxy-ish we can get to. But yeah, no, I enjoyed that game. Granted, I thought the antagonist was kind of weak, and I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't more races introduced other than the Krell. I
They all
can't.
sort
Is
of
this a
sound
Tali
like
situation again?
they all sort of sound like the villains from Orville now.
Yeah.
The Krill. So it's sort
Krill.
of like the
Yeah.
yeah,
The vampires.
yeah.
But no, I mean, as a third-person shooter, it was fine. Exploration was awesome. I really enjoyed the varied environments, and even the Mos Eisley world was exactly as bad as it should have been. Like, you did not want to spend any time there at all.
Yeah, I really adored Mass Effect Andromeda this year. Like, it got a lot of backlash. It genuinely did, and blame that on whatever you want to blame it on. The community, EA giving into the Mass Effect 3 backlash, whatever. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. I think it's an amazing game. I genuinely loved the time I spent with it.
I just think it's compared to their always going to be their high watermark, which would be Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
Which was in how hard and how rare a really engaging game is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone just expects them to do that every time when it's a difficult thing to pull off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, I think Mass Effect 2 is a game. It's not a game of the year, Mass Effect 2. I think Mass Effect 2 is a game of the generation.
Yes.
And you can't do that every single time you put out a game. You just can't.
Yeah.
Not everybody puts out Exile on Mass Street, every album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not everything could be the Chronic either. Like,
That's true.
It's just one of those seminal games that we played, and that's what this, to its detriment, is what Mass Effect Andromeda is always going to be compared to.
Mm-hmm.
And the jankiness of that game really wasn't bad. I mean, it was laughable. Like,
Yeah.
if you're upset because a facial animation is off, you're taking stuff way too serious.
Well, and to their credit, they fixed it pretty quickly too.
Yeah, which to no credit of themselves. Like,
Yeah.
like no one what this is what it was when it launched, so it's always perpetually that. That's just shenanigans. I liked it,
Yeah, me too.
but it bumped it down my list probably about 7 times. Number 9, Berserk: Band of the Hawk.
Oh, right.
Now, granted, it's not, Mushu games are really not my thing,
No, but Berserk is.
but Berserk is way, way deep in my wheelhouse. Enough that I have it tattooed on my body.
Yeah.
So, man, the thing that I like about this game is that I'm hoping people will casually pick this up and get interested in the actual series itself of graphic novels, because it dives deeper than any medium out there right now. Just all the way in. And it's kind of awesome at the same time. Like, it does its job of absolutely just laying waste to hordes and hordes of enemies the way Mushu games are, but with that really good Berserk flair to it. And the sheer amount of playable characters was surprisingly shocking.
Yeah.
I think there were 8 or 9 of them. It was just really, really surprising. Plus, you get to play Zod with his horse slicey sword. It's awesome. Number 8, and this is another one which I wanted to be higher, so much higher on my list, is Shadow Warrior 2.
Oh, yeah.
Man, they did it again. They took a game which I was apprehensive about, and I had started 3 or 4 times, and by the end of it, absolutely loved it. Just absolutely loved it. I just adore this game. Because Lo Wang, much like BJ Blazkowicz, is a surprisingly endearing character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, shocking. Like, why do I care about this guy? He is a jerk at every turn, but he's a jerk in the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a relatable jerk.
He's a jerk who cares.
He is. He's a colorful rogue with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
But that's the funny thing is, he continually does the right thing at every turn and gets no credit for it.
Yeah.
Everyone treats him like a giant D, so he just he plays with it and has his own fun while saving the world.
Yeah.
Or worlds in this one.
Mm.
And that last boss fight with the 80s rock going in the background was just pure unadulterated joy. It was so much fun. The guns in this game with this Diablo-esque style loot system and combining and crafting gems, and I didn't even get the chance to make any weapons in this game. There's so many systems that you could literally eat up a ton of time, and didn't get a chance to play any multiplayer, which I'd imagine doing raids in this would be a blast.
Yeah.
I mean, a la Borderlands style loot grind. Like, there is a lot of stuff in this game. The environments are great. It's a quick, fast-paced shooter that's an absolute blast. I forget if it was a game by any other name than Shadow Warrior, I think more people would play it.
Yeah.
You kind of went on a focus there.
A little bit.
Who'd me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Like I watched the iris. I watched the iris adjust.
That's probably going to happen. I'll work on that while we're talking.
It was really distracting.
Uncanny.
All right. So next, my other game. This is why I'm like laboring over this so much. I loved every one of these games in my top 10. It's the top 10. Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
What number is this again? Sorry.
This is number 7.
2017 has been too good.
Yes.
I cannot believe this game is this low on my list.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is the surprise of your list so far for me.
Oh, believe me, it'd be only for certain reasons why other games are higher than this. So, this game shocked me at every turn. Not only was it great to play, but the gunplay was outstanding. The world they've created was amazing. All the characters felt like fleshed out characters in human beings, which I think is surprising for a Wolfenstein game to have such humanity other than slaughtering Nazis.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's way more heart to this game, and I guess we can talk about spoilers for a little bit here.
Yep. Spoiler warning for Wolfenstein 2 for a couple minutes.
Who would have thought Hitler was hiding on Venus?
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not expect. Not only did I not expect in the New Order for them to go to the moon, which was shocking in and of itself.
Yep.
But to end up on Venus, I did not. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And that was even after the big moment. Like it's just, the whole man. The rocket train. The
Washington Monument moment is really insane.
Oh my god! I thought it was over. I'm like, oh, who's finishing this game out?
Is that the end of the game here?
I'm like, I was like, because I expected to get out of that situation. I don't know how it was going to happen, but it's just, dude, they won, and I was like, you got to be kidding me! And the crazy feat on how they managed to move the plot forward from that point is one of my most favorite things that I've played in ages. And I'm upset with myself. This is number 7.
Especially with that moment that you're talking about after the Washington Monument scene. That's a callback to Wolfenstein 1. Because that appears in Wolfenstein 1.
Really?
Like, yep. You actually take the plot device to get forwards. They actually get that in Wolfenstein 1 and don't know what to do with it. So it's a really interesting callback because it's there in the U-boat the whole game.
Oh, it's so good. It's and then and the hub U-boat, the super submarine that you're in, was a world. Like, it was unbelievably huge.
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff to go in there and look at and read and check out. Like, Boston, I can't wait for you to play this. Like,
I know.
Literally.
It's coming up quick.
Like, and especially after you just finished the New Order, which I'm hoping that was that filled a void in your heart a little bit.
Yes, and Nazi killing void.
Yes.
I actually have all my notes for Wolf 2. I've written, there were literally maybe 6 oh my god moments in that game, and some of them are oh my god that's incredible, and some of them are oh my god that's so depressing.
Right.
That's so the reason why and what I'm upset with myself a little bit that this is so low on this, because I labored over this list a little bit, was that scene where you go back to your childhood home.
Yep.
Might have been one of the most emotionally gripping and heart-wrenching areas in a first-person shooter I think I have ever played.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Literally, when people, I think I was talking with Chuck, and he needed to talk to somebody about it, so me and him started talking on Twitter and DMs about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've just done this thing, which is the thing you do before that," and I was like, "Oh okay. Enjoy the next level. I'm going to bed, and I'm going to leave you alone."
Oh, buckle up, because not only was finding all those little pieces and things in the yard were unbelievably gut-wrenching, but even the dramatic way that area ends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in leading into what happens next, you're like, what the?
Yep.
Oh my god. It's set pieces and its design choice, and again, like the characters, everybody's a great character. It's so hard. Usually there's that one where like, God, I cannot wait till this person gets out of my face.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even the random NPCs, and even the hardcore Black Panther chick, I thought she was going to be grating, and I ended up loving her by the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So Wolf 2, awesome. All right, here's going to be my divisive number 6 here. Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
Oh, okay.
Now, loot. All right, so everyone, like a lot of this stuff, I was watching all these lists and stuff online and whatnot, and everyone's big gripe is the loot chest and the pay to play thing in a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
I did not experience any of that because I put the time in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
At no point did I feel I had to purchase anything in that game. And that game is awesome. It gave me the stuff that I love. Like, I love ancillary tales and things that are side stories to known canon. Mm-hmm. Like, I would love finding out about villains and other weird stuff happening in a universe that has nothing to do with the main story, but somehow has some sort of impact on it.
Right. Please see Tales from the Borderlands for reference.
Sure,
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, like that point exactly. Well, even same thing with the pre-sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the pre-sequel is great because you don't, like, it doesn't dawn on you till later in that game that the reason why Jack has a face mask of himself, it's his genetic clones.
Yeah.
Or not his clone, his doppelganger. His doppelganger's face. He's wearing his doppelganger's face.
Yeah.
Which is amazing in 2. Like, I love that stuff that ties in. And this does a great job of learning more about the Wraiths. Like the Ring Wraiths, the Nazgul. It was so neat to get backstory on them because it's something that I never read about. And even the history of Sauron, which blew my mind. And Shelob, and whatever the anthropomorphication of her, that doesn't matter. Like, that's just a vehicle to make that character be able to relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But finding out stuff about Sauron, the Great Deceiver, was unbelievably fascinating. And it's just sprinkled out throughout this entire game that just gave you enough to keep you engaged. So the combat's great. Conquering cities is awesome. Defending them is equally as satisfying, which I found crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to really plow through and do that easy. Like, you literally have to find, all right, I need to murder these dudes real quick, or things are going to go wrong real fast. And then you're in the midst of the battles and the betrayals, and it's so dynamic. I think it falls short a little bit due to the volume that it happens. Because during one siege where I was being my fort was being sieged, I got betrayed by 6 at the same time. Like it was just like it was like kill the carrier. I was on the football and they just started piling on. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. And I ended up losing it, and then I ended up branding them to maniacs. I kept they kept branding them, like shaming them to the point where they're level 1, and they continue shaming them in the world. Every time I found them, I shamed them. It was awesome. I'm not vindictive in the least.
No.
Number 5, South Park, Fractured But Whole.
Yeah.
Again, it's still shocking to me that these games are as amazing as they are.
Yeah.
They managed to make a strong... Like, last time they did a nice standard SRPG as good as I've ever played. This time they went the strategy RPG route, even better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The limit breakers in this game are all hilarious. None of them are tired. The characters and that ending, oh my god, just it's so South Park. It's everything that's great about South Park, and I loved it. I loved it from start to finish. I was laughing out loud. The what are those pictures called? I can't remember.
Oh, the Yowie pictures.
Yowie pictures
Yeah.
with Tweak and Clyde.
So funny.
Might be my most favorite thing, and equally disturbed every time I found one.
Yep.
Because, man, they are rough. They're rough to look at.
There were real graphic stuff in there.
Oh, my gosh. And the fact that they're in there, and it just... And Clyde's dad's the one collecting them. It makes it even weirder. It's the person you're doing the quest for.
Yeah.
But, yeah, from start to finish, man, that game is great. Like, I don't think I wasted a single second in that game.
Nice.
Even just running around trying to find the memberries. Remember the thing. It's so great. I love them. I hope that game gets DLC because I'm dying to find out what's happening in Canada right now.
Yeah.
All right, so South Park number. I only got 9. I literally forgot it too.
That's because number 1 is so good, it takes up 2 slots.
I cannot believe I did. Wow. All right, so new number 10 would be Telltale. We're adjusting all these up.
Sure.
So new number 10 would be Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Only for the one reason that I did something that no one else did in that game.
Yes.
Right.
That's it.
You played the game no one else did.
So episode 4 is the reason why it's on this list, and the reason why it got bumped was episode 5. So there's that. Number 10. Okay. Number 3. So South Park's number 4.
Okay.
All right, so number 3, The Golf Club 2.
Yep, I was waiting for this.
This has been the most engaging golf game I've ever played. Not only are the courses crazy, but every game has been dramatic. Because now I've been picking handicapped rated courses, so everyone's handicapped. It has made the playing field supremely competitive. Case in point, last tournament we finished, and this is going to be outdated by the time this comes out, but last tournament we finished, Scott was shooting great, I was shooting bad, but I was shooting consistent. So I just kind of grounded out. We got to the 18th hole. Our scores are tied going into 18 on the 4th day. And I drained a 27-foot putt to beat him with an eagle.
Oh, wow.
And it was a nice long big breaker, but the way this game captures, man, how frustrating and how awesome golf can be.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
been a long time since I've played any form of, well, this is the first realistic, quote-unquote realistic golf game I've ever played. And it's genuinely fun and genuinely really frustrating at the same time. Like, it seems to capture that aspect of any real sport. It captures that so well, because when you hit it right, you know you've hit it right.
Oh, it has this unbelievable feeling. You're like, all right, what did I do differently than this time? And then you're always trying to make adjustments, trying to sit different, move into the same adjustments you make when you're actually out golfing. You're trying to true up your line and like taking the lie into consideration. Do you want to hit the ball with like reduce the loft so it hits and checks to change the strike angle? It's awesome. I haven't played a round where I've been bored. Even when I'm shooting bad, it's not it's my fault. It's the lump of flesh attached to the controller is the problem.
Right.
Like nothing feels cheap in that game.
Yeah.
Like every stroke feels earned. And man, that putting is a fine art.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it is a fine art. Outstanding, man. I think everyone should be playing this game. It is that good. It is like it's engaging, and again, once you have an established handicap, you are competitive in anything we're doing. Anything. It's awesome. All right, number 2, Nier Automata.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
This game was awesome. I'm sure we've heard everyone gush about this game as much as possible.
Yep.
The reason why it's not number 1 is because the damn thing tricked me.
And also, it's a bit of a heartbreaker.
It is, but I felt I felt that ending C was the best ending in that game.
Yeah.
Was playing as I already forgot her name. A2.
A2, yeah.
I thought the A2 playthrough was the pinnacle of that game.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I was not expecting to play, like, I thought, okay, that's cool, you play as B2 and 9S, and then I was never expecting to play as A2.
Yeah.
Never anticipating it. And not only that, opening was white hot.
Yeah.
With them dropping out of the arc or whatever, that AHOS thing out of the sky with the VR headsets and stuff on, the crazy costume change.
Yep.
Like it was incredible.
This is a different
like,
game now. Holy crap.
Like this is unbelievable. And she played so cool.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying to play as that character. And equally how she laps back into D and E's ending was just, man, what a solid game.
It surprisingly all came together, too, where you finish it and you're like, oh okay. Great.
Yeah. I really, now, if it hadn't tricked me, I probably would have crushed that game and unlocked everything I could.
Yeah.
But again, it's on the shelf for a reason now.
Yeah.
But I am very happy I rolled the dice and decided to play that.
Yeah.
Really a solid game. And speaking of surprises, a game that I completely rolled the dice on and ended up being one of the best gaming experiences I've had in years is Prey.
Yep.
We've talked ad nauseum about this game. This was clear, like just an unbelievably shocking game for me.
Mm-hmm.
It checked a lot of boxes. I had no idea what I was getting into. It had that weird teaser trailer where you're constantly like, okay, so it's going to be like Groundhog Day in some game, but no, it's in space, and it's even crazier than anything I could have thought of.
Yeah.
As proficient as a shooter, the exploration was awesome. The world surrounding that game was great. And I'm still not entirely sure that I was the good guy at any point in this game.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of think I'm the one that doomed the planet. Just throwing that out there, which makes me love this game even more.
Yeah.
But hands down, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And even for me doing a straight human playthrough to see that I was half typhoid by the end of that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Blew my mind.
Oh.
Yeah, man. There were a couple things I wish it would have done differently, but they're very, very small side story narrative choices, and I mean just as nitpicky as it could.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the only thing I wish I could have done was taken over the military bots and have them on my side for the entire rest of that game.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Like if I hacked that and I own those suckers now and it's on.
Yeah.
Like Super Typhoid Sucker, you're done. I got little flying laser beasts.
Yeah.
Like it'd have been awesome. But yeah, that is my top 10, and man, it was tough
Yes.
fighting over that. The bottom half, every one of those games could easily have been a number 2, number 3. Like anyone I would say probably from 2 down, except for Telltale is a legitimate 10 spot. Just throwing that out there now. That's
Yeah.
legitimate. That's the basement. So you have Prey and the Telltale Guardians game. Everything between there could go any which way.
Yeah.
So I got a 1, I got a 10, and 8 number 2s.
Yeah. All right, Moonpier, let's start with your number 10.
My actual number 10, not my fake number 10, my actual number 10, funnily enough, is Mass Effect Andromeda.
Hey.
It's a game which is on my list because of the many reasons I love it. It's not higher on the list because I haven't completed it. There is, I mean, like Knobs, I've probably put about 70 hours into this already, and I'm maybe halfway through the game. So the only reason it's not higher on my list is because literally I'd made this joke before, and I apologize for making it again. I haven't had the time to sit down and actually play through it, like finish off the story. There's just been too many good things coming out, and too many things which I can do in a short period of time, which might just make the list. See numbers 8 through 6.
Right.
Number 9 on my list, Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
This is probably the most fun I have had playing multiplayer games this year. It's incredible. They designed the game in such a way that it encourages you to not be in a party, because the way the communication works in the game, the way the chat is localized to people who are within hearing range of you, until you get a radio, and then you can talk to only people who have radios. The tension, the fact that it's licensed, and it is probably the most famous piece of horror movie music of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like every aspect of it, just from that intro video as well. Like I think Knobs might have kicked it up for a minute and seen the 80s VHS like intro with the Unreal stuff.
Yeah.
The presentation of it is so perfect. And yeah, it's got issues, and yeah, it had glitches and so on and so forth. Welcome to modern day gaming. It's just been so much fun. Jumping in with my wife, with friends, with randoms. Just jumping in, keeping Jason on random, and then let's see who can survive and who can make it out and who is the best Jason. Like, it's genuinely just been enjoyable every single time I've loaded that game up. It's been so much fun. Minor issue at the moment where one of the updates means that I can't play with my wife for some reason. I don't know why. It might have an issue with 2 Xboxes on the same network now.
Yeah.
Who knows? But still so much fun to play that game. I can't recommend it enough, and every time I've played it with community members, we've all just had a blast just playing around with it. And then when you know you're done, it's really fun to just turn around and try and hit Jason with a hammer and see how little damage you can actually do. Number 8 on my list, Late Shift. Late Shift, I mentioned it briefly on the show. It is the FMV Choose Your Own Adventure game.
Oh, right.
Oh.
It's on my list because it's genuinely fun. Like it's exactly what I said it was. It's a Choose Your Own Adventure game, but it's FMV. The story is well done. It's produced with a solid budget. Like, I would put the budget on this probably on par with the budget for the time travel TV show thing that they did for that game that I can't remember the name of.
Quantum Break?
There you go. Thank you.
Hey, I got one right.
It feels like it has a similar. It feels like it's got that budget, but it doesn't. You know it
Oh my
doesn't
God,
because
did that come out this year?
Quantum
no,
Break?
Quantum
no,
Break
that
was
came out last year.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun ride, and it's only like 3 hours long, and there is, I think, 11 different endings, and if you just take a look at what the description is for some of the endings, you will not know how to get there. You will not know what decisions you need to make to get you from point A to that point. It's genuinely an enjoyable little thing to sit down and think, oh, I've got 4 hours. I'm going to just play through Late Shift again and see what else I can do differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my wife played it, and me and her had completely different stories, different endings, different conclusions. So, if you've got the time and you've got the little bit of money it costs to pick it up, give it a go. It's well worth the investment. It's well worth the 3 hours you'll put in, even for just one playthrough, let alone all of the rest of the endings. My number 7. Thank you. F you, Boston. I hate you. It is, of course, Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yep.
I cannot spoil this. This came out in September. I cannot discuss anything that happens in this game. I discussing this with Boston yesterday via text message. I referred to it as a trigger factory.
Yes.
Which, it's a poor choice of words because it sounds like I'm brushing it off, but it is genuinely one of the darkest games I have played in my life.
Well, it treats its themes with respect, but doesn't shy from it.
What did you play it on?
I played it on my laptop, which proves that my
it's only out on
laptop.
PC.
It did, for anybody who's interested. My wife played it on her tablet, her Android tablet.
Oh,
Is it an app?
It's an app in the Google Play Store, apparently.
I did
Cool.
not find it.
It's genuinely one of the most interesting games I have played this year.
yeah.
I'm not saying I enjoyed every aspect of it. I'm not saying it was fun all the way through, because it certainly wasn't. But it was affecting, and it had that effect. Like, for those who, you'll know how when we record this, because I finished it yesterday, and my Twitter feed was just me swearing at everyone who influenced me to play this
Chewing
game.
me out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're
and
welcome.
I had to do it in one sitting, which made it even worse.
Yeah, that's rough.
Mm-hmm. But yes, go play Doki Doki Literature Club. It is correction. Go play it if you don't suffer from the things it warned you about at the beginning.
Yeah.
Take that warning very seriously. I should not have played this game. I will be the first person to admit it. I should not have loaded this. I should not have played it. I did. Don't. If
Yeah.
you suffer from anxiety, depression, things like that, don't play it.
Yep.
I cannot emphasize that enough. And this isn't me trying to tease you to go and play it. Just don't.
No, it's a genuine warning.
Yeah, it's genuinely one of the darkest things I've ever played.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that. Number 6. What Remains of Edith Finch?
Mm-hmm.
I've never played Gone Home. I played a little bit of the Dear Esther.
Right.
Sorry, I completed Dear Esther. I've never been a huge fan of quote-unquote walking simulators, whatever you want to call them. This changed that for me. What Remains of Edith Finch is incredible storytelling and breaking the expectations of what those games are.
Mm-hmm.
Because after Gone Home, it felt like we got 50,000 of them. Like, it felt like every week somebody was talking about the next walking simulator, story-based game, whatever you want to call them. Edith Finch does things during the gameplay that I don't feel like I can talk about here, because I would want people to experience that game. There is a fish head sequence, which is absolutely marvelous. It broke my brain in the way they did it and the way you progress from that sequence, and it also broke my heart, the story they were telling during that section.
Mm-hmm.
it's another one of those games that was genuinely affecting me. Like, there are so many things that are brought up in that made me feel, and it's hard to make people feel when you're playing video games. Easier than movies, it should be, but it's hard for stories in video games to seem to nail the feeling that they want to go for. And What Remains of Edith Finch is probably one of my favorite games of all time right now, because I just love every aspect of it. The storytelling, the way the subtitles are brought into the world, and the way they vanish from the world, and the interactions you have with the minimal interactions you have with that world are so well done. It feels like not a single second of that game is wasted on stuff you don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, you can't open all the drawers, you can't pick up every single item in the game, and you can't spin it around and investigate it. It doesn't matter that you can't do that, because the story they tell doesn't require you to do that. And a big thanks to T-Bomb Rocks from the community. He's been championing this game to me for a fair while. And I sat down yesterday after Doki Doki Literature Club. I played What Remains of Edith Finch, and it was pretty much exactly what I needed, to be honest. Because it's not a happy story. It's not a great uplifting story, but it's so well told. It just spoke to me on a level that a lot of games don't, and that's why it bumps its way up all the way to number 6 in my list.
Okay.
Number 5, Wolf 2. How is this game not higher on my list? It's a common thing with Wolf 2, apparently. Why is this game not higher? For me, it's at this number. We discussed all the positives. My one negative for it: it doesn't play as well as the last game. I don't feel like the gunplay is as good as the first game, and it's too hard. Like, flat out, that game is too hard.
Yeah.
Like, I played it on the quote-unquote medium difficulty for experienced gamers, and the courthouse sequence, I died 36 times trying to do that one sequence.
That was about the part where I changed the difficulty to the second, because I was playing on medium, and I changed it down to don't hurt me, because honestly, my feelings were getting hurt real bad.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, it's a fantastic game. It has incredible moments. I feel like the first game is better. The gameplay wise, the first game is better. Moments wise, Wolf 2 is so much better.
Is it Wolf 2 just, man?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Those just, man, like
those oh my god moments that I mentioned when Nobs was talking about it, they are bigger than most oh my god moments I have experienced in video games, period. Like, since Nobs already mentioned it, the fact that they actually brought Hitler in, I never expected that to happen once in these games. That in itself caused me to put my controller down and be like, oh my god, they actually did it. They literally did it.
That whole scene was, my anxiety was through the roof. Like, how do they not recognize me?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh my god, it's so good.
Like, that game goes places I had never ever expected it to do. The Washington Monument sequence is another one which I didn't expect ever.
It goes to places you don't think it could go. Which, I mean, and great, like the tentpole moments that we're talking about, like any one of those would be a drop the mic, roll credits moment.
Right.
Any one of them.
And like, I think that's its strong suit is, for lack of a better way to put this as well, it's very 2017. It is a game of the year of 2017. Not to say that it came out this year, which it did. More, it reflects this year very well within itself.
Right.
There are a lot of modern day issues happening that this game, whether rightfully or wrong,
even their ad campaign was right there too.
Whether right or wrong, it's there. It's very descriptive of this year itself. And the opening to that game, it's like, why haven't people been listening to this opening the entirety of this year? I don't know. But anyway, yes, Wolf 2, number 5. We've said all we need to say about that. Number 4, This Is the Police.
Hell yeah.
It
Shake it,
is...
baby.
It's a deceptively simple, or rather, correction, deceptively complicated strategy game, which takes you on a story-driven journey that it has no right to be as good as it is. It has no right to be as interesting and intriguing as it is. It's very difficult at first. And
I'd say so.
Yeah.
that's its major downfall, I think, is there's a lot of people who would probably play this and then bounce immediately just because of the difficulty of the start of the game. But This Is the Police is one of the most fundamental experiences in how to design a video game and a story really well. It's so simplistic. It's literally a 3D map of a city that you move pictures around on, and they go to little dots on the map. It's the most simple of gameplay mechanics that they just keep layering and layering and layering more on top of it. It becomes an onion or an ogre. It has layers. And it is just... It's so good. And I dismissed it. A big thanks to my wife for this, because I dismissed that game the second I saw it. I thought, I'm just not interested in it. It's not going to be my kind of game. What do you know? It is. I absolutely adore it. This Is the Police is my number 4.
Nice.
Number 3, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, wow.
It gets... I don't quite know why this one is as high as it is, because this game has problems. This game has a lot of problems, if I'm completely honest. The combat in it is absolute jank. Like, it's really some of the things they've decided to do in this game go against common sense. It's the Destiny 2 problem of, this is a game, we know how to do this right, let's do it wrong.
Right.
And they do like maybe 3 or 4 big things in that game wrong. The things they do right, actually, quick credit where it's due here. Mackie, I think it was, over at No Quarters, he said it's not the reimagining of Assassin's Creed that they want you to think it is, and it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not a complete strip down and rebuilding of Assassin's Creed. It has a lot of Assassin's Creed tropes in it. But what they've done right, they've built the world right. The game looks beautiful. They always tend to look beautiful anyway, though. They have actually put a lot of effort into characters in this game. The guy you play as and his wife, like the 2 lead protagonists in the game, their relationship it evolves so well throughout the course of the game. And it is broken, and you know it's broken as the player, as the person inside the Animus. You know it is broken, this relationship that they have, and one party sees it as broken and one party doesn't. And the evolution of the story as they go on their vengeance / helping the powers that be, their story is so well told that by the end of the game, it's actually kind of heartbreaking to be in that sequence watching what happens at the end, because you develop the connections with them, for lack of a better phraseology. You understand the husband and wife dynamic and how that's changed as you've progressed up this storyline, this pyramid of kills that you're doing. You've seen the fractures, you've seen the hints that it might get better and it might go great, and then more fractures start to show instead. Like, their journey itself is really, really well told, and it goes places you wouldn't actually expect it to go. I really can't say much about it because I don't want to spoil it too much, but that single player campaign was really, really good. But my favorite thing about Origins is the world building. They have actually put thought and effort and time into side quests.
Nice.
And makes such a big difference when you go into a town and it's like, well, this girl's been kidnapped, and then it's like, okay, go rescue the girl, bring her back, mission done, whatever. But then you realize she's been kidnapped by a guy who wants to marry her, but she wants to marry somebody else. So then she asks your help in finding the guy she wants to marry and what's happened to him. And it becomes chains of side quests that introduce you to different characters, different places, different locations. And it's just so well built. The world, for once, is so fantastically built in an Assassin's Creed game that you're not just trying to mainline it. It's like, side quest, I'll do that because I want to know more about this area. I want to know more about ancient Egypt in this time. It's a really great game, and it is absolutely fantastic. And the fact that they are adding quote-unquote live events, like fighting gods for some reason.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. It's an Animus glitch. Again, it's literally an Animus glitch. I love the outside of the Animus stuff. There is an outside of the Animus story. I cannot say a word. I literally cannot say a word because if I mention a couple of things that blew me away, it'll spoil it. So I can't. So
Yeah.
Did you change the control scheme to enjoy that game more?
I did. I went with the alternate scheme. Thank you, Greencapped, I think it was, for pointing that out after I'd already put 20 hours into the game. The face button combat style is a lot more enjoyable than the bumper style, I find. And they seem to be patching it relatively frequently with little improvements. Like, I think the lock-on, it's not perfect, but it's got a lot better now. So, fingers crossed they'll continue to improve it as they go, but I would recommend AC Origins. If you're a fan of the series, pick it up. It's well worth it. So I expect Boston will play it in 2020.
Yep.
My number 2, and I'm not going to lie, this was the toughest decision for me this year, was which one is number 2 and which one is number 1. Number 2 is Resident Evil 7.
Ooh.
It very similar to my number 1, which, spoiler alert, it's Prey.
Gasp.
Resident Evil 7 was very similar to Prey. I could not have had lower expectations going into that game. I could not have been potentially less interested in playing it, except for the buzz that was coming out about it, because a lot of people started talking about it and how interesting it was. So I thought I'd give it a go. I didn't like 6, I didn't like 5, I'm not a big fan of all the side stories, I don't like the stupid multiplayer games that they put out. So why not, let's give 7 a go. Let's see how they do with Resident Evil. And they took the old, tired formula and they changed it in so many ways to make that game fantastic. The first probably 4 to 6 hours of it is an amnesia game where you are very, very powerless, running away from people, trying to make sure that you stay alive. The back half of the game is more like the OG Resident Evil games, where you have guns, but your maneuverability is really low. You can take shots, but do you want to take those shots or do you just want to run away?
Mm-hmm.
It redefines the Resident Evil franchise in such a positive light that I couldn't have been happier with it. And in case of telling a story and setting a mood, it does the usual Resident Evil stuff, which is you think it's this, but no, it's this, and oh my god, Umbrella. You know,
Ta-da!
It does the usual Resident Evil stuff in that aspect, but the things it does so much better, I think, is the tension building. The first 3 hours of that game is like the slow, steady ramp of tension, and it does not stop, it does not slow down. It just keeps getting harder and harder to remain calm, because there's so much like ratcheting of that tension going up. It's like, okay, now I've learned this, but what's this going to do? Okay, that's a problem. Again, I can't talk about it because it's so good. You should play it.
Yeah.
So yes.
Well, that was the thing I was concerned about with that particular Resident Evil title, was I didn't want to see that that game get that the game looked like it may have started out as something else and then it got branded Resident Evil. A lot like
right.
how Lords of Shadow seemed to be its own thing and then it got branded Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Right.
Yeah.
Both for the better, but yeah, That
Yeah.
was my biggest concern about that game.
Well, that's the thing that surprised me, is the start of it is very not Resident Evil. The only thing it does is, here's a plate, go and put it on this emblem, and it opens the door.
Right.
And then at the second half of the game, then it becomes more like Resident Evil. Then it becomes like, oh, here are the weird zombie monsters. I need to shoot them. If I shoot them 86 times, they'll die, but a couple of headshots and their heads will blow up. Like, it works out really well. And it does my favorite thing in video games, which is, oh, you beat the game, you earn these achievements. Not actual achievements, but you earn these accolades of playing the game. Have a reward for the next time you start the game.
Right.
It doesn't matter what difficulty you play it on. If you want to jump it up to the hardest difficulty, you can. Because, hey, here's now a gun that you start with that's super powerful because you beat the game in X time or X steps or whatever. It's really, really fun. Number 1, Prey, 2017. What a surprise. There we go.
All right, well, moving on to my list.
I can't add much to Prey. Come on.
No, yeah, I mean, it's Prey. Go play Prey. My list was really hard this year because I feel like too much good stuff came out this year, and I feel like I had to champion some of it, and I just went with my gut, and I listed out these 10. So, who knows? Number 10, What Remains of Edith Finch. Way lower than I would have liked it to be for how good it is, but 2017 was just too good. I think What Remains of Edith Finch, I think its strong suit is the story it tells about the history of the Finches. The whole conceit of the game is what happened to the Finches. The other thing that's so interesting is that part of it is when you dive into each one of these stories about each one of these family members on your family tree, you're playing some sort of story. But I think what it does so intelligently is that each and every story controls completely differently, but you know how to control it. I almost don't know how to describe it, where so many of these sequences, it presents you with something, and like after maybe a couple of seconds of playing with the controls, you're sort of like, oh, okay, cool, that's what I need to do. And it just, there's something about how the game communicates itself to you, both in the story, and then it does a thing I love that games do that most of these adventure games, people call them walking simulators now, a lot of these adventure games don't do, which is, you need to open a book, so you're going to hit a button to grab the book, and then you need to move the sticks to open the book up. And you need to open up this passageway, so you hit a button to grab it, and then you push the analog stick up, and your character moves the passageway up. Like, there's something about that almost tactile feeling about opening this stuff up and unfolding this house and uncovering these mysteries that just, it feels so good. And we often don't get games that feel good like that and then manage to tell these interesting and bittersweet stories side by side. It's only, I think I blew through it in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours maybe, and it's absolutely worth the time. And it's just a cool thing, and it's a cool showcase for how games can tell stories in interesting ways that maybe different medias aren't really capable of. It's really good. Number 9, Life is Strange Before the Storm. They just announced when episode 3 is coming out, and is coming out after we record this episode. So this is, for me, this is the first 2 out of the 3 episodes of this year. I really, I was pretty hesitant to put any incomplete games here on this list, but I think Before the Storm, for me, has garnered so much passion because it's a successful, it's a successful story in a universe that didn't need more. I mean, I think when we finished Life is Strange, we went, okay, if that's all I get, great. That was a fantastic, solid 5 episodes. The storytelling was great. The ending was solid, and I'm happy with that. And I think for almost everybody, the knee-jerk reaction was, yeah, but more. Oh, and a prequel. Dude, we're playing.
And it's not Chloe. The same studio.
Yeah, like this is all wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like any part of that would be good.
Yeah, and I think it's such a credit that they really make you care about Chloe, and they really make you care about what she's going through in the months and years after her dad's passing, which didn't seem like a story that had that much to it after the first game. But I think the way they tell the story, and I think the relationship that happens between Chloe and Amber Price is so strong, in the same way that the relationship between Max and Chloe was so strong in the first one. They've managed to capture lightning in a bottle twice. And I'm impressed that they managed to make another Life is Strange game. And it's maybe better or worse that it doesn't have time travel powers in it. But at the end of the day, it's a really, really solid game that really shouldn't have been. And I have every faith that Episode 3 is going to be good, and I cannot wait for it to come out and play it. It will be here shortly, but sadly not before this episode. Number 8, This Is the Police. Moonpier captured a lot of my thoughts about this game. This is another game like Moonpier that I didn't really think I was gonna like, but I think it's because I sort of didn't understand it from the marketing. I said on the Game Club episode, this really is a game for me. It takes this cool, crime simulation half of this game, married up with a surprisingly well-told and very affecting story that is just a heartbreaker from the very beginning of it. And John St. John, bringing out an incredible voice acting job of just a broken, angry, destroyed man that's just trying to keep it together. And it doesn't... It's one of those games that doesn't do a lot, but everything it does is nearly perfect. And I think we get too often we get too many games that are too big and they're too broken and they try to do like one too many things. And
yeah,
This Is the Police succeeds. This Is the Police is a really good grilled cheese sandwich. When it's made right, it's comfort food and it's great, and it has like 2 ingredients. And sometimes that's all you really need if it's done really well. So This Is the Police is a grilled cheese sandwich at the end of the day. Put that on the box. Number 7, Battle Chasers Night War.
Really? I didn't expect this was going to make your list.
No, I really liked this. I think you take a bunch of people that have worked on Darksiders and you have them make a JRPG, and it turned out pretty well. I think the game did have and still does have some issues. I think it's mostly, first-time development team issues that they're resolving over time. But I think they made a really solid JRPG that, again, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing revolutionary. They came out and they made a really good, solid game for the 20 hours you're going to spend with it, which is great that they didn't make a 50-hour game. It's good, solid 20-hour JRPGs can sometimes be... They don't often come out because I think they're seen as too short, but that's a really good time, especially in 2017 when there were too many games that came out this year. So, number 6, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I feel like nearly everyone else loves this game way more than I did, but there again were too many games that came out this year. I think when I heard open world Legend of Zelda, I went, yeah, I'm okay. No thanks, I'm good. No thanks.
I think that's what the entire world said.
Yeah, because I have always appreciated. I find comfort in a classic Zelda game where you go into a dungeon, you get the item, you use that item to beat the boss, and then you get to more of the world map using that item. You know, it's a
just to get the noise.
yeah, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with that formula. They played with it a little bit with A Link Between Worlds. I thought was largely successful, but I think Breath of the Wild's real strength is that it's an open world that doesn't really stop you from doing anything, and a lot of that applies to just the open world itself. Like if you see a cliff that you can't get over, chop down a tree and just jump on that tree and walk across that chasm to get to the other side on that tree. Or wait until you get a better item, or walk all the way around, or fall down and climb up it. You know, I think the variety of solutions to any of the common problems that the game presents to you is so great that you don't really miss that there aren't really any dungeons. You know, there are 4 primary dungeons in the game that are fine. They're probably the weakest point of the game itself. But then there are 100-something of these little shrines that are all one specific puzzle that you go in, you solve, and then you come out with some sort of reward. I think this is a really solid game, and I think it shows that Nintendo is finally willing to at least try something different. It would be nice if they would try a little bit less of weapon durability, because nobody enjoys that.
That seemed horrendous.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds because everything drops a weapon, but it also kind of sucks because it's weapon durability. You know, that's never really that fun. But yeah, I think this is a really solid Zelda game, which we don't really see anymore, and it leaves me a little hopeful to see Nintendo continuing to try new stuff, especially with their really important franchises. So I hope we get more good, different Zelda stuff from now on. Number 5, Doki Doki Literature Club. I appreciate and I always gravitate towards games that, 1, play with your expectations, and 2, mess with the player. See Metal Gear Solid 2.
Just a quick note on that. Literally, my wife was playing this game, and her response was, "This is some Hideo Kojima BS."
Yeah. I think we were just talking about it being on... You can download it from the developer's website. You can play it on... There's some version of it on Android. I would recommend against all of that, play it on Steam. That's going to be the most interesting platform you can play it on, and it's free, so the price is right. I really don't want to talk more about this, because not only because it came out, but also because the crux of this game is in its surprises. And I think it's such an interesting game, and it's such an interesting way to play with expectations that I think you should go play it if the warning at the beginning does not apply to you. So go check it out. If you only play through it once, it's about 2 hours. So
yep.
It'll probably a little bit faster if you read a little bit faster, but go try it out. Number 4, Persona 5. I feel like Persona 5 for me this year is Mass Effect Andromeda for a lot of people this year, where it's good, and it's a good game, and it's a good sequel, but you're always sort of gonna hold it against Persona 4. And I think Persona 4, by and large, is a better game, also admitting that maybe that's rose-colored glasses. You know, if it's still a better game, I'm not sure, but Persona 5 does have a lot of problems, and it for a game that came out in 2017, it is not as socially savvy as maybe it should be, in a way that I hope Persona 6 is. But I think they came out with a solid game that plays really well. It has the demon fusing. It has a really interesting story. We unfortunately did not get a great translation that I think hampers the game a little bit. But I spent, I think, 150 hours on this game to get platinum, and I don't really regret any of it. And I think when Atlas puts out a game like this, they usually don't let you down. You know what you're getting, but it's going to be a great time, and it's going to be a great game, and Persona 5 is a great game. It just also was in a year of incredible, amazing games, half of which I didn't get a chance to play. All right, top 3. Number 3, Nier Automata. I think when you talk about a game that challenges your expectations, I think Nier Automata is a game to be talked about. I think it's the 5 of the 26 endings you have to get are all fantastic. There are a couple other ones that are really great, like the fish one. There's one where you
killed you.
Yeah, the one where you sacrifice yourself on the bunker, which is really great. I think Nier Automata is a really hard sell, because you said what everybody hears is, well, you have to play through it 5 times. And when you say, well, that's not really true, all they hear is, wah, 5 times.
The thing with that, I mean, it's not like, I didn't know this going in, that every playthrough's different. Like it's a continuation. Like it should be. Yeah. There are 5 acts to the game.
Yeah, 5 chapters is what I've always said the game should be, because it's. Yoko Taro has always had a hard time marketing his games because of this sort of stuff, where it's like, you have to play through it 5 times, and everyone goes, oh my god, come on. It's like, but it's different every time, and they go, yeah, okay. I know RPGs. It's like, well, okay. I think what Nier Automata does with its storytelling and its music and its characters and how the story across all 5 of its chapters weave into itself and around this core story and this core discussion of what is it to be human and what does that exactly mean, and is that something that's good or is that something that's bad?
I forgot to even mention what those little robot people were just amazing. I don't know how something that's literally like 2 oil barrels and a round ball were incredible.
Character of the year. I think playing through the story multiple times is such a hard sell, but it pays off so strongly. You know, after Knobs is talking about ending C, you know, it pays off so well. And there's a moment, I'm going to talk about 2 spoilers here for Nier Automata, so they're not huge, but just keep in mind. The first one is, there's a moment where you're fighting similar bosses, I think it's on ending E, as 2 characters at the same time. And what it's doing is you're fighting one boss, they're both basically the same boss. You're fighting one boss as you're like going up the side of a building, and you're fighting it on a 2D plane, and when you've done enough damage to it, sort of clouds obscure your vision, and then suddenly you're playing as another character fighting basically the same boss on a 3D plane completely differently. And it's switching between these 2 characters, and it starts doing it faster and faster, because where the story's going, these 2 characters have to meet at the top of this thing, and they're both separately fighting their way towards the top of this thing while trying to take out all these robots at the same time. And it's one of those scenes that was so surprising and so interesting and so impactful that it's one of those things that I'll remember for a really long time. And it's not that interesting, but just how they managed to tell it is sort of like, oh, I'm fighting, oh, this is where these 2 stories are starting to diverge at the same time, or converge at the same time. And it just super, and it's on top of, you know, hacking into this thing and learning secrets and learning the truth behind what you're really fighting about. And I think one of my favorite moments of this game is It's one line. The game at the very end asks you if you'd like to sacrifice your save data to send it to help to someone else. And the game asks you, I counted it, game asks you 6 times. And one of the times was so interesting because it asks you and it's like, are you sure you want to do this? And you're like, yeah, okay. And then they go, but you're going to lose your data. Like, are you absolutely sure you want to do this? And you say, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then it says, even if it gives your data to someone you don't like, what if this person's a real jerk? Do you want to give them your data? And you say, well, yeah, I do. And they go, I mean, what if it's one of your enemies? Like, they might not even use it. Are you sure you want to give up your data? And it's one of these things where they could have just asked you yes or no 6 times, but instead it's sort of like, are you sure you've thought about this? Because you don't get to choose who to give your save to. They're going to need it, because everybody needs it. I won't spoil why. Everybody will need it, but it could go to someone real terrible. Are you sure you want to do that? I thought that was just a cool little coda on the game.
Well, the part that sold me on that question for me personally was that I needed help finishing the area where your help goes. You're like, well, this person did it. I would feel bad if I didn't help someone else.
Right. They helped me. I'll help someone else.
But the degree, I don't think the severity of it really dawned on me until it happened.
Right. Well,
because it throws it in your face.
Yeah.
Every little thing you acquire in that game, you watch get deleted line by line by line, and you are in a panic, and you don't like. What do you mean? But save file 1, 2, 3. What?
All your items.
All your items. All your ending. It was just like.
And I think it's such a bittersweet ending because you are sending your save file off to someone else to help them, but you just did all that work. That was my save file. I know it's going to help someone. I know it's going to help someone finish the game, but that was mine. But someone else helped me.
It was all your save files.
Yeah.
It was all your data for the game.
That was my playthrough.
Just gone.
And I think that's so cool, and it's so... I know the first Nier did something like that, and I think it's so powerful that you do that and you genuinely helped someone that's playing it after you by giving your playthrough it. I think that's... Nier Automata is such a cool game and such a... I will never play another game like Nier Automata.
Oh, you forgot about to mention the good wishes you send along while you're playing.
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, you keep it up, buddy. You're doing great.
Yep.
Like...
Nier Automata is so good, and it's such a singular experience, and I'm so glad that it has stayed in the video game zeitgeist for so long, because more and more people are getting a chance to play it as more people are getting PS4s, and as it's getting cheaper, and it's still out there, and you're still going to be able to play this game and still enjoy it probably for a really long time, because I haven't even talked about 5% of the things that happen in this game, and every single part of this game is good. And I would recommend, if you don't like the combat, turn it on easy, turn it on auto, enjoy the story, like I did.
Yeah.
You don't really lose anything. Number 2, Yakuza 0. I think part of the reason why this game is so high is because I now get the series, and this was my gateway drug into the fervor that is the Yakuza series. I think part of the reason, I now understand that part of the reason why these series are so loved is because Kiryu is sort of like BJ Blazkowicz, the way we talked about it earlier. BJ and Kiryu are going to go out and they're going to go do terrible things to terrible people and mow down a ton of people while they're doing it. But they're doing it for the right reasons. Like, Kiryu has a heart of gold. He just looks like a stone-cold killer. But he's gonna go do the right thing, and he's gonna go do stuff that the good person that he is would do. and then he's going to go sing some karaoke and get drunk and play slot cars. And all of that makes sense, and I really genuinely didn't expect to love the mafia, mystery story they're trying to tell here, which is, who framed me for this murder that I absolutely did not do. And over the 60 hours that I played this game, that story kept me riveted throughout the entire time. I really can't recommend this enough, and it not only does it look great, it's nice to see Sega put out great games still, and it's nice to have a really great game. And now, fortunately and unfortunately, I have another series that I have really fallen in love with, and thankfully it's a Sega one, because I love giving Sega my money. Thankfully they are good games, unlike a lot of what Sega puts out. But and number one is Prey, TVGP's Game of the Year.
And I'd like to say you're welcome to both of you.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only thing I'll say about Prey really quickly is we don't often get games like this where you are well rewarded for exploration. A lot of times you'll go down a bunch of empty hallways that are side hallways in this corridor you're shooting stuff in, and there might be a health pack or something. In Prey, you get rewarded by going down those corridors, but you also get rewarded for using the tools you have at your disposal to break the environment in ways that it intended you to, but that also makes you feel really, really smart to get advantages early, because you knew how to bend this stuff to your benefit. And it's like,
and it didn't outright tell you to do it either. So
no,
in some way, it kind of it presents something in a problem in a way, but you have the tools to figure out, but doesn't tell you how to, which was ingenious, especially using the goo gun to get to higher places.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest things is when you pick up the goo gun, you're like, this is dumb. Like, what I can stun some of these mimics. Great. That's also, I can jump on it. I can make a bridge out of it. I can jump on it to jump over to this place to get into there early so I can get a shotgun. So, okay, cool. And it's like, it rewards you for experimenting with the tools you have and exploring in such a way that if you break the environment early and you break the pacing of the game early, it doesn't punish you. It doesn't say like, wait, you shouldn't have the shotgun now. It says, good job. We gave you all the tools and you just played around with it. Now you get an advantage early, and now you get some cool stuff early. And the game almost pats you on the back and says like, cool. Now you know what Prey is.
Right. And I feel like that system rewards you early on too.
Yeah. And I think Prey is number one on my list, not only because of that, but also because it's one of the few genuine surprises in 2017. It did not have great marketing. It kind of came and went pretty quickly. It has the Prey name associated with it, which is for a lot of people a black mark. But man, it came out of nowhere. And it was genuinely a fantastically great game. And you really need to go play Prey.
Yes.
It is worth it.
Yeah, and that's exactly why, when I played this, it was like, you guys have to play this game. Enough that I gave it to you. I couldn't not, because my experience with it was so good and completely unexpected. Yeah. I was genuinely shocked that that game not only was amazing, but was that engaging.
Yeah. And
the different playthroughs and the other endings and stuff you can get and the different ways you can conquer that sucker is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played through that game 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to know how good that game is, managed to play through it 5 times in an incredibly packed year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So TVGP's top game of the year is Prey, as it should be.
Yep.
Let's talk about the community game of the year. What we did a little bit differently this year is asked the whole community to vote for their favorite game of the year.
Is it Prey?
Like, it's not. Out of like 40 selections that I had on the sheet, with 25% of the votes, Nier Automata. I was pleasantly surprised, and this is a good reminder that our community is the best. And I think it wasn't Prey, because I think a lot of people are playing Prey now after it was so cheap, less than $20 or so during Black Friday. So
I've seen it all over Twitter, a bunch of people talking about Prey. It's
hey, Prey's really good. Have you guys played Prey? And it's like, yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, I bought that thing day one, not really knowing what I was buying.
Yeah. I've got to ask, how many fake accounts does Soulman have if Nier Automata is our game of the year?
It did not look like there were any fake accounts.
Yeah, but I mean, he has
4,
limitless resources. That's a whole bunch of bots.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to honorable mentions. Knobs, what do you have on your list?
All right, honorable mentions. Friday the 13th. I really didn't spend enough time with it, even though the one game where I hid in a tent for 20 minutes while everyone was silent and not yelling at me. I still can't believe no one found me, and I managed to escape. Still was shocking. I'll never forget that.
About that.
I will, and just the moments that creates, like the other time where I escaped, where I literally turned around and saw Jason, and I ran out of stamina, and I just barely made it out made it to the cops to get out.
Man,
there's so many good moments, and out of the 3 times I think I played it, but I didn't play it enough to make it on the top 10. Chime Sharp, still an awesome puzzler. That is just a solid game. Sonic Mania.
Yeah, that's one I missed.
It's so good, but man, you need a little screen to play that on because it broke my brain in 30 seconds. Like, my eyes could not keep up with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw out another one here. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Outside, I don't play a lot of the multiplayer, so the whole loot crate thing and doesn't really bother me as much as it probably should. But the story mode would have been great if they'd have finished it.
It just gone a little bit further.
I think it stopped short of probably revealing a really good tie-in to The Last Jedi, which is coming out at the end of, on the 15th, I think.
Yeah.
Well, which would be 2 weeks from, or the end of this week that we're recording this on. But I think if it had went there, this game would have been way higher on my list. But I felt like it was pointing, everything was pointing in this direction. And then it's like, okay, let's just stop. I'm like, I don't know, man. And I thought it would have been better to spend more time with the, more time as the protagonist being part of the Empire before they made the switch. That whole transition felt really rushed. And then my only other real big gripe with that game is the dude that meets Luke Skywalker never brings it up.
Right.
Like, how do you not bring that up that you met that dude? Like, everyone's looking for that dude, and you hung out with him for a level, and you don't mention it to anybody?
Well, I guess you guys never asked.
Even when you're running around with Princess Leia, like, you don't think this would be an endearing moment that you could share with her?
Pertinent information.
Oh, how's he doing? Is he still wearing all black? Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that was kind of a bummer. I did have Telltale on the honorable mentions, but that bumped up to number 10.
Got promoted.
Yeah. So that would be my honorable mentions this year.
All right, Moon, what is on your list?
Golf Club 2. Fortnite.
Oh, yeah, Fortnite.
Fortnite never clicked with me.
I know. I think we need to actually get you past the tutorial section, which is way too long.
Well, it's too bad because PUBG is coming out, and I think that's going to be the new hotness.
Oh, my wife already has it pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Abzu. I can't remember if that came out this year or last year.
It's honorable mentions.
Yeah. We can put it in there either way.
Whatever. It's there. Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Came out real late last year on consoles. I sunk about 60 to 80 hours into that game, like in January, and I need to go back and continue playing it, but I ran into a glitch where every time I chopped one of my vegetables, it crashed the game. I'm pretty sure that's been patched now, so I probably
But now you're free. Do you want to fall down that hole again?
I kind of do, because that game is great.
Yeah.
Also, the music in it is fantastic. But anyway, final honorable mention for me, Tacoma.
Yeah.
This was on my top 10 list until Doki Doki and what remains of Edith Finch pretty much kicked it out. It's a really fantastic game. It does my favorite thing from Arkham Origins, which is the detective moments in it, where you've got to piece together the crime scene and scrub through the timeline. It does that, but with story moments where you scrub through a timeline and follow people to learn about them, and different conversations are happening with different people, so you can scrub backwards and forwards and see the whole thing. It's really well done. It's another one of those very 2017 games based on the story progression of that game. Can't say more. Go play it.
My list has Telltale Batman Season 2. Incredible so far. Just, we're only halfway there. So I didn't, unlike Life is Strange, I didn't feel comfortable putting it on there because we're only at the halfway mark, but man, it's real good so far. Last Day of June. In any other year, that would have been in my top 10 because I enjoyed it so much and it did something really cool, but just this year's too good. Chaos Child, for being one of the few visual novels I played this year, since I haven't gotten to a Danganronpa. Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus on PC came out this year. On Xbox One, apparently will never, because people don't like money. But it's great. It is a lot more Binding of Isaac, and is probably the last Binding of Isaac we will get. So it is a pretty nice capstone to the last 10 years of Isaac. So 2 thumbs up. And last but not least, Yakuza Kiwami. Could have been in my top 10, but not. It's a good game, but not nearly as good as the rest of the stuff on the list. Certainly not as good as Yakuza 0, but still worth playing if you like 0. But play 0 first. That game's great. All right, let's talk about best old game. The old game didn't have to be last year that we played this year. Start with you, Knobs.
I'm gonna have a two-parter here. I'm gonna say Axiom Verge.
Oh yeah,
absolutely blew me away. That did not expect that game. That game took the Metroidvania formula and turned it into its own game.
Yeah.
The power-ups you got weren't the ones you were quite expecting to get, in surprisingly good ways.
Yep.
Literally, the drone was probably the biggest surprise and one of the best things. And using it to teleport around was just fantastic way to traverse that world.
Yeah.
The slash would be the sheer amount of time I've sunk into Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Yep. That's true. Yeah.
That game just, I don't understand why it's got its hooks in me so hard.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what's being said on the screen. I just need to match 3.
Yep.
And try and figure out ways to game this system to work better. And there's so many different ways and combinations of characters that you can just decimate the opponents in that game, and I love it. It's really crazy good.
Oh, both of those are really good choices. Moon, what's your best old game?
Best old game honorable mentions: Oxenfree. Wow, that game is great.
Yeah.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Wow, that game is great.
Yep.
Thomas Was Alone. Wow, that story is great. Dying Light. Talk about something I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near as good as it is. Hyper Light Drifter. One of the most artistic games I've ever seen. But no, it's Marvel Puzzle Quest. It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's no. I don't think I've played any game as much as I've played Marvel Puzzle Quest this year.
I didn't pick Marvel Puzzle Quest because I forgot about it during my top 10. But I picked Watch Dogs 2. I think coming off of Watch Dogs 1, I mean, most people like me were saying, like, okay, you gave that a shot, but if you're not going to make more, that's probably okay. If you're going to make another one, you need to make it really good. And I think Watch Dogs 2 is really good. And it was really divisive, I think, because of its subject matter and its cast of characters, and you're doing a lot of hacking, but something about it just really clicked with me, and I think they made a really good Watch Dogs game, finally. And it's a really great Ubisoft game, and it's just a really solid game, and some of the stuff you do in there is just really, really crazy in a way that I don't want to spoil, but you do some really insane stuff that they manage to couch well, where you say, okay, this is kind of dumb, but of course I'm doing it. It's kind of fun, at least. And yeah, too many people miss Watch Dogs 2, and I hope as it gets cheaper that people can go back to it, because it's pretty great. I liked it a lot. And let's wrap up on a bittersweet note, I guess, here with games we missed. Knobs, let's start you.
Well, I'm going to say pretty much most things on a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I got Yakuza 0, Kiwami, Neo, however you say that, Neo, and Persona 5. I have those games to play. I just can't pull myself away from the Xbox to play them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I messed up again with the honorable mentions in my top 10, because I'd really like to swap out Agents of Mayhem instead of... Yeah, but yeah, so PlayStation 4 needs some love. Just throwing it out there, because Horizon Zero Dawn looks neat.
Yep. Moon, what's on your list?
Well, basically half of your list and half of Nobs' list, funnily enough. Anything on the PlayStation 4 that I didn't get a chance to play, which is everything on the PlayStation 4 that's come out there I can't play. Take your pick when it comes to the Switch games: Breath of the Wild, Mario plus Rabbids,
right? I wish
Mario Odyssey.
Wish I had a Switch for Mario and Rabbids.
Me too. On the Xbox front, or multi-platform front, Shadow of War, South Park, Sims 4, Cities Skylines. Mummy Demastered is something I'm really probably going to jump into in January. And Battlefront 2. Like I said, half of everybody else's list make up what I missed.
Yeah, my list is Horizon Zero Dawn. I was waiting for the Game of the Year edition. I now have it in my hands. It's just, where do I put it in the list of other games that I'm playing? South Park Fractured But Whole is another one where it's like that and Horizon Zero Dawn are both next to each other in the pile. It's just, I gotta finish the games I'm currently mowing through until I can.
Did you ever play Stick of Truth?
Oh yeah, I loved Stick of Truth. I played that on PC. I loved it. That game was great. Mass Effect Andromeda. I played like 3 hours of that, and I said, this is really good. I should finish this other game first. And I think we all know what happened, because you listen to the show. And last but not least, Assassin's Creed Origins. I was waiting for us to talk about it on the show, and I was waiting for reviews to come out, and the reviews have so far been thumbs up, it's good. So now I just need to wait for it to be on sale, because I don't have any money. All right, well, that's our top 10 list this year. Prey is sitting at the top of Game of the Year 2017 for TVGP, as it should be, wearing the little mimic crown, the Typhon crown. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you very much, everyone, for a fantastic 2017. And we'll see you for predictions next week.
Yay!
Yay! I should do them.
All right, and thank you very much, everyone, for watching the video. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.